Hey everyone, it's Thomas. So today let's talk about the Gershman Avant Garde speaker. Now in the thumbnail I wrote better than Focal. Well, I'll put it this way. I actually prefer this over my Sopra 2. Now before those of you who own the Sopra 2 start crying, don't worry, I have not betrayed you. I did not say that it is better than the Sopra 2, but rather I prefer it over the Sopra 2. And I'll elaborate a bit more at the end of this video. So today's speaker, $15,000 Canadian. Now, before, once again, you guys run out of the room saying, oh, Thomas, man, I don't want to start selling my body parts to finance the speaker. Don't worry, they do have more entry-level products. And I still think it's worth your time to check out this company because they do make quite innovative products. So I was thinking, how do I talk about this speaker? $15,000. Man, I always joke, man, at $15,000, it better also make me coffee. I'm not going to focus on how it sounds. The reason why I don't want to spend too much time talking about how it sounds is because, so let me give you an example. Speaker 8. It has a very expressive top end, very detailed, very sharp. And then the bass, strong, deep, powerful. You know what? I just described the Focal 836, but I pretty much also described the Focal Sopra 2. But the Sopra 2 is 5 times the price of 836. So for me, talking about how it sounds means nothing. In the sense, like, it doesn't highlight the strength of the speaker. If I tell you the speaker image well, big deal. My ELAC UB5 $500 speaker can image very well also. So what's the big deal? So to answer this question, I told myself, you know what? I'm just going to focus on 3 main things that I come across the speaker that does exceptionally well compared to the other 70 pairs of speakers that I've owned. I think then, yeah, that would let people know how incredible these speakers are. So the 3 things that it does exceptionally well, number 1 is it images incredibly, fantastic soundstage. The second thing is the bass. And finally, it's a forgiving speaker. All right, so I'm just going to focus on these 3 things. So when I mentioned it imaged well, I'm sure some of you are like, well, Yarn, big deal. I hear this all the time with speakers review. So what's so unique about it? And to stress my point, to highlight, to emphasize my point, I've decided to go out to hire a band. Now, sadly, due to the COVID situation, I have to settle for this pseudo band. So at the beginning of my journey, I had to rely on my friend whom I'll call Mr. Vintage to explain me what to listen for in a system. And one thing that he pointed out, I remember, is that soundstage is something that eventually I'll pick up on as I progress in my journey. But not just any soundstage, because any speaker can produce a soundstage. What is unique about higher end system, he mentioned to me, especially when you start adding tubes in the system, is that it creates a 3D holographic soundstage. When you close your eyes, you're supposed to be able to imagine yourself able to walk around the musicians in the soundstage. It is supposed to create that illusion. And I remember my wife sitting nearby when she heard that. She was like, Thomas, man, you guys are nuts. You guys are crazy. What the hell? Air, soundstage, what the heck is that crap? And I remember when Mr. Vintage told me that at that time I had a more entry-level system. It had tubes. And I'm listening to the soundstage. Well, he told me that. And I say, I don't hear that in front of me. I don't hear that air. I don't hear that 3D soundstage. So I was always doubtful about that. Until, of course, after trying 70 pairs of speakers, different gear, treating my room, finally, okay, I get it. You can create this 3D holographic soundstage. With the Gershman, I do get air in the soundstage. Why did I show the band at the beginning? And the reason is because a lot of the system I try is true. You can localize the singer, but it feels more like this. This, yes, is 3D. You have singers in the front, you have musicians at the back, there's layering in the soundstage. But notice I use books instead of teddy bear because the musician feels flat, 2D. While with the Gershman, it feels 3D, the musician. There's volume. So that's why you can feel like you can walk around them. There's air in surrounding the musical instruments as well as the musicians. And this is something that you have to experience to get it. And this I don't get from a lot of speakers. As I said, yes, I get that 3D layering soundstage with the other different speakers, but to feel the volume and the air, that I don't get often. In fact, I would say that the Avant Garde is probably one of the best in my room that I've ever tried that can produce this 3D holographic soundstage. Now, for those of you who own other speakers and tell me, Thomas, I feel the same thing in my room too, absolutely. And I think the key here also is the size of your speaker in relation to the room. With the Focal Sopra 2, I feel the speakers are a little bit too big, so they don't disappear in my room. And that soundstage is not as spacious, actually, as the Avant Garde. The Avant Gardes are really small. If I put it next to my other speakers, they're like mini. My point is that these Avant Garde in my room, the size of my room, it's, yeah, almost perfect when it comes to creating this holographic soundstage, but this time with a bit of volume. So next, let's move on to the bass. Bass is different on this speaker, these Avant Garde. And if you look at the bottom of this speaker, it has a built-in bass trap. It's something that's unique to them. It's patent pending. Now, I don't know about the technology part, and frankly speaking, I don't care, because all I care about is what I hear. And what is incredible with this Avant Garde, let me illustrate it with this music sound demo. So get ready for the sound demo. Now this track, I use it to test the speed of any speaker I get. Not a lot of speakers can survive this track. The Focal Cantor, fantastic, lightning fast, easily can keep up with this track. A lot of times the speakers that I try, what happens is that it gets muddy when it comes to this track because it just can't keep up with speed. The Avant Garde is fast. It's fast enough that it doesn't get muddy, but that's not what blew me away. When I listen to this track, all I focus on is it muddy? But what caught me by surprise was that me putting no effort into it, I heard the vibration of the skin of the drum. And that's where I go like, wow, there's a lot of information in the bass with these Avant Garde. Nuance. I don't usually use the word nuance to describe bass. The Avant Garde has it. And other musical instruments that I listen to, especially bass, sounds different compared to the 70 other pairs of speakers I've owned. For example, the Canton 3.2, you're not going to get this much nuance in the bass. Sure, the Canton might have a lot more visceral punch, but the Avant Garde, when it comes to bass power and how low it can go, is no joke either. If you want punch, you push it past a certain volume, you're going to feel the punch. But truly, when I listen to the Avant Garde, I don't really care about the boom, 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 punchy bass or the fact that it goes low. It's because it's so detailed in the bass that I find myself listening more to that instead. You know, when I listen to a soundtrack, I can switch between the musical instrument, meaning that I can point there, okay, that's how it sounds like. I can listen to that, that's how it sounds like. And it's great. Because out of the speakers, a lot of speakers I tried, not many can do that effortlessly. So that's the second thing where these Avant Gardes are quite amazing. So finally, let's talk about how forgiving these speakers are. These speakers are not rolled off, not smooth sounding. The top end, it has bite. There's a bit of sharpness to it, and it's very detailed. And it was very apparent when I swapped between, let's say, my Compound 4, I have this Dying Audio Compound 4 to these speakers. You can tell the resolution increase with these speakers. The reason why I was comparing both is because they both use soft dome tweeters, and you know, this Compound 4 was legendary for its time. And when I swapped to these Avant Garde, I can tell right away there is more resolution. And The fact that it's not overly sharp, not overly bright, the way they voice it, allows me to listen to a wider variety of music. Now, a test track that I use, I'm going to put it on screen here. I can't play it because of copyright issue. Try running this test track, this song, on your system and start pushing the volume. See how far you can push it before you have to run out the room. With the Avant Garde, I notice I can push the volume higher. So for those of you who are very sensitive to listening fatigue, this is something that you should look at because they're really balancing in between detail and smoothness. And that's one of the strengths I noticed with the Avant Garde. Now, another reason why I'm not going to go in detail today talking about how it sounds is because Sean from Zero Fidelity, which I still can't get over this picture, is going to review it eventually. So no, nobody's going to beat him when it comes to describing how a speaker sounds. Now, thanks to Sean, of course, because of him, I got a chance to try these Avant Garde because he hooked me up with Gershman. So before I wrap it up, I want to talk about the Sopra 2 versus the Avant Garde. Now, I cannot compare both of them. They're for different audience, they're for different room size. And for me, speaker must match room. And the Avant Gardes disappear easier in my room. The soundstage is more holographic, it's wide in my room. The Sopra 2 has scale, it has power, it has incredible detail. So I can't really compare both. It's just that in my room, the Avant Garde works better. Now the Sopra 2 is at Mr. Cantor's place right now. He said, you know what, with all the gear that he has, he could not bring out the full potential of the Sopra 2. Now I heard Sopra 2 in a very good system before, so I know what it can do. And I knew that what we had was not good enough to drive it. So he eventually went out to buy some Macintosh gear to drive his Sopra 2, and he said that yeah, now he's satisfied with it because he noticed with the Macintosh gear, it brought it up to another level again. Sadly, it's just too heavy for me to bring it to my place to A/B test them. Now keep in mind, the Sopra 2, when it was at my place, the best power amp I had to drive it was the Moon W5.3, the Classe D200. But with the Avant Garde, I got my hands on this Lumin Poweramp. Thank you to Lumin for sending it to me. And this power amp is $17,000 Canadian compared to, let's say, the Moon W5.3, which was $4,000 or $5,000. So just the power amp alone is going to raise the level of my system significantly. So that's why please don't be surprised when I said I prefer the Avant Garde over a Sopra 2 in my room. One thing I noticed in the comment section in Jay's video on the Next Best Thing Studio is that I see people just mentioning, oh, this is not a good deal, just go get something else like this. And I'm like, no, man, it's a different solution for a different crowd. What I said in this video, if the three main things appeal to you, then you look at this Avant Garde. If that's not what you care about, because we all have different tastes and we look for different things in speaker, then you look at other speakers. If absolute resolution is what you're looking for and you absolutely need that beryllium tweeter because all you listen to is audiophile music, audiophile recording, then sure, go for speakers that have the best resolution possible. But not all of us want that. And that's why I took the time to highlight these three things. And this is what the Avant Garde does really well. All right, so I'm going to wrap up the video. Now, after the video, there'll be a short video clip from Ofra. She's one of the owner of Gershman. And I asked her to film a short clip showing her studio and explain me a little bit about the bass trap and so forth. Now, to finish off the video, I guess I'll tell you another story. Now, in 2019 or 2018, I went to the Montreal Audio Show. Cow, the lineup was crazy. We have to get a bracelet to get in. So, darn. And what I wanted to do was make a video for you guys. And but that time I told myself, I'm going to focus only on the stuff that are very interesting. I told myself I'm not going to film every single room like I did the first year. And that's the first time where I heard these speakers. Now, in the audio show environment, you don't listen to soundstage, the nuance in the bass. That's not what you do. You look for speakers that has the most explosion. And yet, the Avant Garde caught my attention. And that's why I took photos of it. And I was going to include it in the video that I was going to make, which I decided not to because eventually I look at the footage and recording on my cell phone that is just garbage, man. The footage just looks bad. But the point is, at the audio show, despite the environment I was in, the Avant Garde still caught my attention. Now, if you go audition these speakers, and it's difficult in the audio show, right? It's how often do you listen to details in the bass? It's not something you do in the audio show. But keep these three things in mind that I talk about, and when you go audition them, listen for those things, and maybe these speakers are for you. All right, so till next time.
Hi everyone, my name is Sopra Gershman and I'm here with Gershman Acoustics. I'm here to demonstrate one of the methods we use to evaluate our speakers and compare their sound to a live musical instrument. I'm sitting here in the recording studio in front of this beautiful Steinway piano. We use this piano to play and then record live music. Thereafter, we replay the recording through our speakers in order to evaluate and compare the speakers to the live Steinway piano sound. This is by far the best way to conduct an evaluation and listening test. And because we have the recording studio and many musical instruments, as well as some very talented musicians available to us, we're able to conduct such a comparison. Gershman Acoustic has been around for 26 years now. Well, it's experimenting and developing new technologies and ideas for speaker designs. I would like to elaborate and explain to you a bit about our bass strap, which you can see to the right of the Grande Avant Garde. The bass strap illustrates one of our essential aspects of our credo, the attitude that might best describes us as never stop experimenting. The bass strap is a patent-pending design developed by Elie Gershman for the Grande Avant Garde model. Elie Gershman's goal was to further extend the bass response, produce very tight and accurate control bass, yet allow for great detail imaging and incredible soundstage. The bass trap creates a pressure differential between the main cabinet and the bass. That draws the backwave energy into the acoustically and mechanically separated bass elements through ducts, where it dissipates, reducing both intermodulation distortion and re-radiation through the woofer's cone. The end result is a superior loudspeaker that is closest to the music than anything else. Bye everyone, and see you next time. Ofa at Gershman Acoustics.
Like two fires, movement so graceful. Wildcat in the jungle with dangerous claws. Movement she anticipates, a sight is set on her prey. Like stars in the darkest night, crystallized fast.